that have turned on us. They've turned on their own people. They're destroying their own nations. This is the new dictatorial spirit that is in them. There's a Hebrew word for cruel rulers, akzari, harsh, evil laws that they're being enacted, akzari. Isaiah chapter 10, 1-4 is an example of these kinds of things. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And what will you do in the day of visitation, and in the desolation which shall come from far? To whom will you flee for help, and where will you leave your glory? Without me they shall bow down under the prisoners, and they shall fall under the slain. For all this his anger is not turned away, but his hand is stretched out still. God still stretches out his hand, but what is it saying in the beginning of this chapter here? Woe to them that make unrighteous decrees. Woe to those who make evil laws. The laws that we see are being enacted around the world are plain evil. I saw a video yesterday of what's going on in Australia. A camp that's being built. The title was Quarantine Camp. And it was double fenced to keep people in who really are in no danger, no real medical danger to society. And yet they're being double fenced in by cruel laws and electrified to go with it. So we see the rise of these world leaders. We see the rise of these men. Maybe these men are just the beginning of men that are going to follow that will be even more cruel, more evil. Daniel chapter 8, 23-25. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. It's so clear, isn't it? This is the Antichrist. This is the final king that will stand up and pronounce in his kingdom. This is the ruler, the pitiless, cruel leader, the pitiless, cruel ruler. I've made a note here of 8 things that this man will possess in his characteristics. He will be pitiless. He will have no compassion. He will be fierce. He will be hard-hearted. He will be merciless. He'll be a tormentor. And he'll do it with pleasure. He won't even know, perhaps, that he's tormenting in the same way that we understand it. He'll be inhuman. And he'll vex the people. We're already starting to see that, aren't we, as these cruel laws are being enacted, that there is a minority section of society that are becoming vexed. But at the same time, he will also start to vex those who maybe that will follow him. They won't understand what he's doing, but at the same time, they'll follow because they've been brainwashed and blinded to follow. And this kingdom must come to its full. Yes, I know there are people that say we'll be all raptured away and taken before this is going to happen, because God is merciful and he won't let us suffer wrath. Certainly God will not let us suffer the wrath that he's bringing upon the world, but he does allow us to go through trouble. In the world you will have tribulation. So understanding dark sentences, it says in 23 here. This is a man of witchcraft. This is a man of the dark arts. And he has the dark web in order to perpetrate his dark arts. And so we see that through his policy in verse 25, he will cause craft to prosper. This is the man who comes with deceit, ultimate deception. And what does it require of us? It requires of us to be discerning about every word that we hear from the mouth of a preacher. Don't take my word for it. Study what I tell you. Research it. I'm just the messenger. Daniel chapter 9, 26 and 27. And it says, After 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall